Studies show American teens spend just over 5 hours a day outside on the weekends, which is less than half of the time we spent outside when we were kids. In fact, studies show that when asked, today's kids said they'd rather be inside playing video games, watching TV, or even doing chores than go outside. But I recently met some young folks who not only like to spend time outdoors on the weekends, they're motivated to get out every day, often starting at the crack of dawn. They look forward to getting out of the house so they can check on their pigs. Hi, I'm Lori Johns. Chances are very good that most folks hearing my voice right now didn't grow up on a livestock farm. That's okay. But whether you eat pork or not, I'm sure you care how Iowa pigs are raised. That's why this episode of ChopTalk focuses on young folks who raise pigs and the life lessons they learn along the way. Did you know exhibitors brought nearly 4,000 pigs to compete at this year's Iowa State Fair? That's a record. Why is showing pigs so popular? Who are these kids and what drives them? And even more important, what can we all learn from them? We begin this episode of Chop Talk with a chat with Sherry Sell Baker. She's a talented, motivational educator and mom who guides so many young people into the show ring. So, Sherry, welcome. Tell me about the job and what it is that you do here. There's a lot of pigs, there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of folks watching all of these shows. What is your job, both as a mom and as an educator?
So I'm a show mom. I have been a livestock judge or a showmanship judge here in the past couple years, and then just an industry representative. So speaking with people and talking to them about pork production at the state fair.
And your kids are showing pigs today.
They are, yes. My kids have been showing pigs since they were about 3 years old. My oldest son is finally old enough this year. They have to be through 5th grade to show at the Iowa State Fair. So this is his first year here.
Oh my goodness. Are you nervous?
Yes, actually. I think nobody tells you that about being a show parent, that you're probably more nervous than the kids are. So
okay, so what would you do to reassure them that this generation understands animal care and will continue to do a good job?
So first and foremost, when we teach our kids from beginning to end with these animals, we're teaching them that everything we do is in their best interest, from everything from ear notching the pigs, which we do so that we can tell who their moms and their dads are, to taking care of them and giving their vaccinations that they need to keep healthy and stay safe and in the swine industry and be able to travel and come to shows where they are not going to get sick and get ill and need more medication. Everything we do from the start to the finish is in the best interest of the animals. I think that's the best message that we can give producers and consumers both, is that everything we do is to keep them happy and healthy and safe and get them at the end to be a safe product for the food chain.
So there are a lot of lessons to be learned on a pig farm, especially for kids that are showing pigs, because that animal, they put them first before everything. What do you think they come away with in the end?
So I know my kids in the summers when it gets hot later in the day. So one of the biggest learning experiences has been for my kids this summer, especially where it's been so warm. They're getting up in the mornings, they roll out of bed, brush their teeth, and they're out the door and out to the barn to go work with their animals before it gets too hot, because they know that it's in the animal's best interest if they're getting out there and getting them walked and washed and brushed and fed before it gets too hot and the animals would have any kind of stress on them. So I think one of the biggest lessons they learn is how can we adjust our lives to take care of these animals. So something that consumers often don't think about is that holidays and Christmases, all of our animals still have to be fed. So livestock producers and farmers in general are out there making our animals a priority and making our schedules around their feeding schedules and when we need to care for them.
Okay, what do you think is in store for these kids down the future because of what they've learned on the farm and taking care of animals?
I'm so encouraged every time I come to a livestock show, or I've helped judge the Pork Ambassador program in the last 3 or 4 years. I'm so encouraged when I come to those because I see kids with a true passion for the livestock industry. They have a passion for taking care of their animals, and they have a passion for, I think something that has become very popular with our kids is social media. So our livestock kids are taking social media and using it as a positive in the livestock industry and being able to tell consumers and tell their friends about their projects and how they're caring for their animals. I think it's a tremendous asset to us if they can use those tools in an effective way and be able to communicate what they do on a daily basis with their animals and show their friends and their neighbors and everybody who's going to the grocery store and buying our products how we're caring for animals and what we're doing every single day to make sure that they have the best life possible.
And how nice that they've got a message they want to give instead of just seeking popularity.
Yes, exactly. I think if we can teach these kids to use social media in a positive way and be able to show the population in general how we're caring for animals, it's a great asset.
You know, studies show most kids today spend up to 7 hours a day on their phones to check social media. So it is a great platform to learn about agriculture, especially if they're learning from other kids who add value to their day by caring for farm animals. Reagan Gibson is one of those farm kids who uses social media to share positive perspectives. Reagan raises pigs that compete at the fair, and you'd be surprised what she's learned over the years.
Now tell me about your background when it comes to pig farming.
Yes, so I'm a fourth generation hog farmer. I've been around it my entire life. I started showing pigs when I was only 3 years old, so I've been showing for 15 years, and I've loved every single second of it.
It's a lot of work when it comes to getting the pigs ready for what we see here. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we start working with our animals when they're fairly young, about 60 pounds, and we don't go right in with the training. We like to get them used to us because you wouldn't just jump in with a dog and expect it to jump through hoops or anything crazy like that. So we'll sit in the pens, we'll feed them treats. I like to figure out what every single pig's favorite treat is. Some of their favorites are marshmallows. That's a kind of all-around favorite. And so we like to get them used to us. We name all of them. They all have different personalities. And so we get them used to us, and then we'll start training them. We use kind of a directional tool to train them so they know what direction they need to be going, and it helps them prevent them from getting hurt.
And now we know that pigs are vocal. We hear some here in the background right now. Tell us what you've learned a lot all about probably pig language, right? So you have some idea, especially with your own pig when it comes to, they talk all the time. How do you read that? How do you understand them?
So they will kind of be vocal in different situations. Sometimes they are hungry, they just want more food. Sometimes they're just a little stressed out, they're in an unfamiliar situation. But a lot of the time they're just kind of communicating to one another. So they might be communicating to their friend in the pen next over. If they're in the ring, they might hear other pigs around being vocal. So it just kind of depends on what kind of situation they're in, how vocal they're being.
Well, it's like you're right on top of it. So tell me, how do you connect with people who might have a question about, that pig is screaming and it's not happy and this isn't right? And how do you calm those fears?
So what I say is, how cats meow or dogs bark? It's just a way of them communicating with each other or trying to communicate with us.
So folks just want to know that the next generation, that they're on top of it, that you guys care about animals and you care about, because they're not dogs and they're not cats, they're pigs and they're food chain animals, but it still matters.
So my pigs and everything come first. They eat before I do in the morning. There's no days off. They are always held with the utmost care on holidays, birthdays, everything. I think they have a better skincare routine than I do. I have a whole wall of stuff just for them. And then I figure out their favorite treats. I actually did a research project on figuring out how to reduce stress in pigs, so they all have different playlists. So it's all the songs that help reduce stress the most in them. So I care so much for my pigs, and I don't think any producer will say that they don't care about what they do. You can't be in this industry without caring about animals and caring about what you're doing and what you're doing for the consumer.
Well, now I have to ask. I would bet on classical music for a playlist, but probably not. What is your pig's playlist?
Oh boy, that's a fun question. Okay, so one all-around favorite is Reba McEntire. They absolutely love her. But I will say, if you want them to calm down, don't play Bon Jovi.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. I love it. No living on a prayer. All right.
Paige Daigle is another young person who raises show pigs for competition. She's an Iowa Pork Ambassador, a position she earned in a competition with many other talented young people in Iowa. I talked to her about sharing the story of agriculture. She agreed there are lessons for farm kids to learn too, once they get past the farm gate.
So when I was first selected as ambassador, I decided that my goal was to close the gap between farm and fork. And that started with my friend group, my family, and other colleagues in college. So since then, I've traveled to 18 different school districts, and I've been in classrooms from preschool to seniors. And just being able to talk to them and help them understand what we do as producers to raise healthy and safe pork for them. And I think that's the hardest thing, is trying to change people's minds. But if we can just teach them while they're young, they'll be able to promote as well.
What about here when you see young folks working with pigs? Like I said, they're pretty chatty. That's what pigs do. But what kind of questions or what kind of things do you do if you ever meet with them or folks who are watching these competitions?
So I was in the ring yesterday during the 4-H livestock show, and there was a young girl who was showing. She had a good amount of pigs back to back, and her pig was just not cooperating with her, and she handled it so well, and so well that I actually had to go talk to her after and commend her, because we need more people like that in the industry, because everyone has a cell phone and all it takes is a picture or a video that maybe can be taken out of context. So if we have young people promoting the pork industry and doing the right things, that'll shine the light on the rest of the industry as well.
So if you could look 10 years in the future, I know you're going to school, what would you want? What do you want to do?
So I think everything I've learned through my ambassador position has really opened my eyes to a need for promoting and advocacy in the industry. And I've been equipped with a lot of those skills as ambassador, and I would like to take that into a career field. Whether it be communications or public relations, I would like to continue to be an advocate for this industry.
Whether they're raising pigs or talking pork, I have to tell you it's encouraging to meet so many hard-working, talented, and dedicated kids. They're using their voices to promote positive perspectives, to build a bridge with other young folks they may never meet. Hey, couldn't grown-ups like us all learn a thing or two from them? I'm Lori Johns. On the next Chop Talk, it's not all corn, beans, plows, and sows for today's pig farmers. They are a part of the community, and they really know how to show up when we need them most, like when our house is on fire. Yes, farmers wear many hats, but a firefighter's helmet? That and more on the next Chop Talk.